Hello everyone. Unfortunately, we still don't have any information about the amazing digital circus, apart from various leaks. So in this video, I decided to combine my best theories about our favorite clown Kaufmo and our equally favorite jester Pomni. In this video, you will learn the shocking facts about Kaufmo's disappearance and why Pomni will be the key to saving him, and not only him. Let's not hesitate and start our video, but don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and comment on this video. And here we go. I have evidence that Kaufmo has indeed just achieved his abstractions and deliberately turned into this multi-eyed monster. The question that immediately arises is why I thought that. I will explain it to you in detail. His entire room is filled with the inscriptions, exit, and no way out. But at first glance, the ordinary administrator Kane seemed to him to be the biggest evil in the digital circus, who only wants to mock the inhabitants of the circus. And after realizing all this, the clown was really obsessed with getting out of the amazing digital circus. And like Pomni, he even found that very precious door. Kaufmo not only saw it, but visited it. It is proven by the pictures he drew of the same gloomy rooms where Pomni wandered in the pilot episode. In one of my videos, I already told you why they differ from each other in different characters. But as we already know, it might not be an exit from this virtual reality, but just another place built by Kane based on the wishes of the circus inhabitants. But it's not finished yet, so Kane hasn't shown it to anyone yet. This location is not completely finished, and judging by the state of Pomni at the moment of entering it, has a huge number of different bugs. All this made Kaufmo realize once again that there was no way out of the circus. If Pomni, as a new member of the digital circus team, was so much affected by all the truths that Kane was so vehemently hiding, the impressionable and already mentally challenged Kaufmo was certainly in a state of complete apathy after walking through the familiar real-life locations that became his guide to the digital circus. And soon Kaufmo decided to take desperate measures. In one of the paintings, you can see him standing in front of his own abstracted version and the inscription, "Why?" That is, Kaufmo drew it before he turned into a monster. He deliberately sat and drew the picture, and even then he realized that it was about to happen. But for some reason, he didn't even resist it or try to prevent it in any way. Kaufmo just asked himself the question, why? Why is this happening? Why does everyone who goes crazy turn into it? And why does Kane dislike it so much, when he's just happy to mock them? Then we see the inscription on one of the paintings. What does the exit say to the clown? And then we see him again, only on his bed. But exit can't talk, so someone or something must have put thoughts into his head that made him go crazy. Something that caused Kaufmo to voluntarily turn into an abstracted monster. I think Kaufmo knew that all abstracted Kane moves all abstracted people to the basement, an area that is closed to all inhabitants of the digital circus, that is impossible to enter, and where only abstracted people, who can also be seen in one of the pictures in Kaufmo's room, can enter. So maybe it is there in the basement and not behind the rooms inside the mysterious door. What if abstracted is the way to the exit? Based on all this, it turns out as follows. Having the last hope to get out of the amazing digital circus, Kaufmo decided to take a desperate step for a chance to get into the basement, the only area he hasn't explored yet and where the real exit from the circus might be. But imagine how desperate and disillusioned you have to be in life to dare to take such a stupid action, because it was obvious to everyone that once you turn into a monster, you can never go back to your past life, but only become a brutal aggressor who doesn't remember absolutely nothing before. I'm sure Kaufmo knew all this, because 99% of the time he saw someone who no longer lived in the circus turn into a monster, and everyone saw the consequences. The same situation happened to Kaufmo. He doesn't recognize his friends, doesn't understand their words, and just attacks everything he sees. I think that in such a state, our clown is unlikely to look for a way out, even if he really is somewhere in the basement. But who could have made Kaufmo turn himself into an abstracted monster? Many people mistakenly think that it was Kane who made Kaufmo become what we saw in the pilot episode, but I can make you sad or happy if I say that this is a huge mistake. After all, if you think deeper and in more detail, that painting on the wall is too obvious a message for anyone to see, and if Kane really was the one who made Kaufmo go crazy, he would have probably noticed such a serious piece of evidence and removed it from the digital space. But that didn't happen, so we have to look elsewhere. I don't think anyone would think of harmless Gangle and Regatha or Old Kinger, but the most obvious ones are Jax or Zubul, and that's where the fun begins. Despite the fact that Jax is an arrogant guy who is not interested in anyone's life but his own, he is not a traitor. He's just a mentally lost character who's too much of a tough guy. If Jax knew about this, he would have gone to catch Gloinks rather than accompany Regatha and Pomni, where he actually ran away after seeing this horrible scene. Even for the sake of an alibi, Jax will not put himself in such grave danger because he loves only himself more than anyone else in this circus. And here's Zubul, this strange figure I propose to take a closer look at. A lot of people wouldn't even think about her, because the pilot episode doesn't reveal her identity in any way. but I'm sure it's on purpose. Even after she has collected all of her body parts, you could hear, "I can't believe Kaufmo gave up so easily." And now we will proceed to prove our words. Many people have noticed that the final scene of the pilot episode of The Amazing Digital Circus is very similar to the world-famous and very popular painting Last Supper, which depicts Jesus Christ's last meal with his disciples the day before his crucifixion. However, this is not just a reference for the sake of reference, but a direct hint to us. At this very moment, Jesus informs the disciples that one of them is a traitor and will betray his mentor very soon. In all pop culture parodies, as in Jesus' original work, the Messiah always sits in the center, and the second person to his left will turn out to be a traitor like Judas Iscariot. However, an important detail is that while everyone is talking quietly among themselves, Judas sits silently, watching everything going on, and rests his elbow on the table. We see a similar picture in the digital circus, but the traitor is not the second character on the left, but the second character on the right. Again, it is Zubul putting out his elbow, silently watching a very upset Pomni. Thus, Gooseworx directly hints to us that the traitor is neither Kinger, nor Cain, nor even Jax, but the unremarkable Zubul. But if Zubul is indeed a traitor, then Pomni in this case represents Jesus Christ. Even on the official concept art, Pomni is depicted as Jesus crucified on a cross. It's also important to note that she healed her own hand from glitches without the help of Cain, just as Jesus healed himself and others. If you read Tumblr Gooseworx, you will realize that the creator is directly saying that the digital circus is literally a cartoon purgatory. So the reference to the Last Supper is not a coincidence at all, but an important plot component in which Pomni is the Messiah who has arrived in this amazing digital circus to save all the other characters. So let's examine this theory in a little more detail. Pomni is the most energetic of all the characters. I would even say that she is a rebel, because the amount of foul words she uttered in a few seconds speaks volumes. And now let's imagine what Pomni can do to save everyone else and in what form this very salvation consists. Perhaps Pomni will take a long time to explain why she is the only one who sees a door with an exit, despite the fact that recently we said that this space is nothing more than Cain's creation. But still, the final scene makes us think that it is really impossible to get out through the void, but the room in front of the corridor may be the key to the solution of the exit from the damn circus, because this interpretation is very suitable for this place. After all, in the final of the pilot episode, we were shown this unfortunate desktop with a computer and a headset. So Cain knows that it is possible to get out of the circus, but he skillfully disguised it by creating the void, and thus masterfully confusing all those who managed to get behind this door, including Pomni was also deceived. After analyzing all this, Pomni will realize that she has been deceived, and she will have only one thing left to do, to prove to everyone else that the way out really exists and is not a common joke among the inhabitants of the digital space. Given that the pilot episode proved the closeness between Pomni and another girl in the circus, Ragatha, it is likely that the first person Pomni will try to convince will be Ragatha. After a long time, Pomni will be able to convince Ragatha of his rightness and prove to her that all the words about the exit are actually true. But then it will be up to Ragatha, since she has been living in the digital circus for a long time. She is much more trustworthy than some obscure jester who just appeared in the eternal home of the other characters. Ragatha will also try long and hard to prove to everyone that Pomni is right, and only after a few days or weeks, everyone will believe her, and then the most interesting thing will begin. Well, there will be no continuation. Sorry for that, but I want you to finish this theory in the comments. Well, I wish you good luck and success and say see you in the new videos that appear every 2 days.